This is the weekly roundup on EAC News Channel, your look back at the past week in the Kingdom of Wonder. A very good evening, I'm Darshana Gauchan. The Special Envoy of the ASEAN Chair for Myanmar, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn, briefed the UN Security Council on the outcomes of his first visit to Myanmar and the outcome of the consultative meeting on ASEAN humanitarian assistance to Myanmar. He said that both ASEAN and Myanmar want the country to return to normalcy, and the ASEAN Special Envoy understands that the solution to this issue can only come from the political actors in Myanmar themselves. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more details.
Addressing UN Security Council, President Linda Thomas-Greenfield on Friday the 27th of May, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn spoke to two things he's doing to facilitator and consultant for providing assistance to Myanmar. He vowed to be an attentive listener, honest facilitator for Myanmar, emphasising that various political parties in Myanmar should take a more open stance for constructive dialogue in order to build mutual understanding, trust and confidence that are conducive to a friendly environment and trustworthy peace process in Myanmar. In terms of providing humanitarian assistance to Myanmar, he outlined that ASEAN have achieved three things: establishing an Asian humanitarian assistance framework, addressing the challenges of humanitarian assistance operations, and building a framework for implementing the COVID-19 vaccination program in Myanmar. He said the immediate priority is to set out to what was agreed at the consultative meeting, especially efforts to provide timely humanitarian assistance for those who need without discrimination. The Deputy Prime Minister further told the UN Security Council that he would travel to Myanmar for a second time to push for further progress in implementing the 5-point consensus. Posting on his Facebook page on Friday night, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn said this was the second report to the UN Security Council on Myanmar. He said Myanmar continues to face complex issues such as a political and economic crisis, the COVID-19 pandemic, the severe humanitarian crisis. However, this does not mean despair, and long both ASEAN and international community continue to encourage constructive relations with Myanmar, contrary of the policy of isolation. He wrote, "We are doing our best as a chair of ASEAN and will still hope for those whose efforts will contribute to building a strong foundation for peace, stability, prosperity for the whole of Myanmar." The 5 points that the ASEAN Special Envoy looks forward to pushing for during the next visit in Myanmar include the cessation of violence, participation in constructive communications, engagement in the COVID-19 vaccination campaign, division of humanitarian aid, and optimism for the Myanmar can return to normalcy. The Myanmar military staged a coup to overthrow the government of Myanmar on the 1st of February 2021, arresting the state councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, President Win Myint and other ruling party officials. Hours after the arrest, the Myanmar military declared a 1-year state of emergency and handed over power of the Commander-in-Chief of Armed Forces, Senior General Min Aung Hlaing, sparking protests across the country. This was a bloody crackdown. However, the situation has reported changed somewhat after the 2022 chairman of the ASEAN, Prime Minister Hun Sen, visited the country in early January, and ASEAN Special Envoy, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn led the delegation to pay a working visit in March 2022. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
The Secretary of State of the Ministry of Social Affairs and Secretary General of Disability Action Council, M. Chan Makara, has emphasized the importance of ensuring the convenience of persons with disabilities in respect of equal rights, providing justice, and helping persons with disabilities show their talents and find job opportunities. He made this statement during the training of national trainers on physical and infrastructure to facilitate the second generation in Phnom Penh on Monday morning. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has the story.
Speaking on behalf of the Minister of Social Affairs, Vong Sut, Secretary of State M. Chan Makara said that the past as well as the present, Prime Minister Hun Sen, the Honorary Chairman of the Disability Action Council, launched a National Disability Strategic Plan with consideration given to the provision of facilities, including making improvements of physical infrastructure and equipment, public transport, communication, knowledge and information technology systems, as well as other tools and services for persons with disabilities. He said that the head of the Royal Government has taken great consideration to ensure equal rights and respect, stating that the persons with disabilities have the same rights as others, including the right to participate fully in community life. The Secretary of State added that many persons with disabilities already have a difficult life compared to others, So as people living in civil society, it is our duty to help those in need. Persons with disabilities add diversity to communities, and that diversity enriches these communities. He continued that if persons with disabilities can be integrated into the community, they will have more opportunities to make friends and more people will get to know them. He said, failure to ensure facilities or provide comfort for persons with disabilities will result in the loss of virtual skills and virtual power of persons with disabilities. Society's refusal to provide employment opportunities, education, or other services for persons with disabilities is not an unfair but also a disregard for human services. Depriving society for good resources, facilitation means that the person with disabilities can become customers and increase sales volume and profits for all kinds of business operations, which improves the business and economy. Moreover, if the company is in good place for customers with disabilities to do business, the company's reputation will be more famous and positive. According to Secretary of State Chan Makra, a provision of facilities for persons with disabilities is being taken into account with new public spaces are designed or construction. Public spaces are being renovated, including historic buildings, and when renovating infrastructure for persons with disabilities or restoring public places, it is important that designers, architects, builders and persons with disabilities themselves think about the best ways to ensure accessibility. He said, this does not mean that the authorities are only involved in enforcing the law, but also attract benefits from both national and international tourists, which allows developers to get back more revenue from improving the convenience of parks and public spaces. He called on ministries, institutions, companies and private sectors actors to ask for help, discuss and work with persons with disabilities when developing future projects.
As thousands of flag-waving Israeli nationalists marched through the Muslim quarter of Jerusalem's Old City on Sunday, 29th May, in a deeply divisive parade that Palestinian factions warned could reignite their conflict with Israel as clashes erupted across the West Bank.
The annual Jerusalem procession celebrates Israel's capture of the Old City in the 1967 Middle East War and draws thousands of cheering, chanting participants to its narrow stone streets. Tens of thousands of flag-waving Israeli nationalists, some chanting death to Arabs, marched through the Muslim quarter of Jerusalem's Old City on Sunday, defying threats of retaliation from Palestinian militants. Metal barricades shaped the route of the march in the aim of decreasing tension and friction between Palestinians and Israelis. Hours before the procession was due to kick off, police locked some Palestinians inside a mosque on the Al-Qaisa compound as Jewish visitors arrived for daily tours of the compound, which is revered by both Muslims and Jews. Israel sees all of Jerusalem as its eternal and indivisible capital, while Palestinians want the eastern section as capital of their future state. Hamas, deemed a terrorist organization by Western government, sees all of modern-day Israel as occupied. Palestinians view Sunday's march as an Israeli show of force and part of a broader campaign to bolster Jewish presence across the city. Adding to the tensions, police said a record of 2,600 Jews had toured Al-Qaisa Esplanade ahead of the march. Looking to halt the visits, Palestinians hurled stones and set off fireworks before being pushed back by police firing stun grenades. Some scuffles broke during the march in spite of Israeli police precautions. According to the Palestinian Red Crescent Society, around 62 people were treated while 23 were hospitalized in Jerusalem. Israeli police repeatedly clashed with Palestinians in Al-Qaisa compound in April during the holy month of Ramadan, with Muslims angered by the rising numbers of Jewish visitors to the mosque esplanade. 2 weeks ago, the funeral of Al Jazeera journalist Shireen Abu Akleh, killed during an Israeli army West Bank raid, descended into chaos when police charged the mourners and yanked away Palestinian flags.
Russian forces intensified their attacks with barrages of heavy artillery to capture a key Ukrainian city in the southeastern region of Donbas, whose full takeover Moscow's top diplomat said was now an unconditional priority. Here are some things you need to know.
Russian shelling has destroyed the entire critical infrastructure in the Ukraine city of Severodonetsk, President Zelensky said on Sunday, 29th of May. The battle for Severodonetsk, which lies on the eastern bank of Seversky Donets River, is in the spotlight of Russian Alps at slow but solid gains in the part of the country known as Donbas, comparison Luhansk and Donetsk regions close to the Russian border. A warehouse in Bakhmut in the Donetsk region was repeatedly hit by missile strikes for a second consecutive day on Saturday, the 28th of May, according to local authorities. No casualties were reported by authorities, but rubble has been strewed across the street on Sunday, the 29th of May, in front of severely damaged warehouses. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky visited Ukrainian troops on the front lines in the northeastern Kharkiv region on Sunday, the 29th of March. The visit makes his first official appearance outside Kyiv region since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine on February 24th. He was seen handing out awards and gifts to many personally. The official presidential website cited him as saying to them, "You risk your lives for us all and for your country." The President's Chief of Staff ended 31% of Kyiv region's territory was currently occupied by Russia, and further 5% had been taken back by Ukraine after being occupied earlier. A solar plant in Ukraine's Mefra in the Kharkiv region was destroyed by missile strike on Saturday, the 28th of May. The solar plant station manager, Vladimir Rashkovsky, said. Local authorities said there were no casualties from the strike that happened on early Saturday, 28th of May morning, and power supply had been restored. Reuters does not immediately verify who was responsible for the strike. There is no military infrastructure here, it's just a solar plant, Wadowski said. Local media has reported shelling on Mefra in the past couple of days. Ukraine servicemen patrolled trenches in the front line of Donetsk region Sunday the 29th of May as they fight off Russians' attempts to capture more land in the eastern part of Ukraine. Dmitry, a former English teacher, said his biggest fear was being told to stop fighting. A negotiated settlement can only happen in Ukraine terms. As the present is happened, it would be a horror. He said adding to such a move could end President Zelensky's career. Ukraine has stated receiving Harpoon anti-ship missiles from Denmark, arms that will bolster forces fighting Russia's invasion, Ukraine Defense Minister Alensky Zrezkov said. A bunch of Ukraine's Orthodox Church that remain loyal to Moscow after 2009 schism has said it will break with Russia's church over the country's invasion of Ukraine. Churchgoers in Kyiv on Sunday, the 29th of May, said they accept the split, but were concerned about unity among Orthodox believers in Ukraine.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn, has said that Cambodia's political will and commitment toward ASEAN community building efforts have been consistent and relentless ever since joining the Union in 1999. He made this statement while speaking at the workshop on Cambodia's contributions to ASEAN since assuming membership in 1999 at the Hyatt Regency Hotel in Phnom Penh on Tuesday, 31st May. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has further details.
During his speech, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn stated that Cambodia is motivated and inspired to work harder to advance ASEAN community building, and highlighted that the theme of the ASEAN ACT, Addressing Challenges Together, which emphasises ASEAN centrality, unity and solidarity, and was set by Cambodia upon assuming the ASEAN chairmanship in January 2022. Speaking more on Cambodia's membership of the ASEAN, the Deputy Prime Minister described how Cambodia was the 10th and last member to join the ASEAN family back in 1999, making one of the greatest foreign policy achievements in terms of regional integration and multiculturalism for Cambodia. He further highlighted all major achievements made during the two major prime times that Cambodia assumed the ASEAN chairmanship in 2002 and 2012. The first time assuming the chairmanship, it was 2002, just 3 years after joining the association. Cambodia contributed to easing tensions in the South China Sea with successful conclusion of the Declaration of the Conduct and Parties of South China Sea document, and also hosted the first ASEAN-India Summit to strengthen ASEAN-Indian cooperation. The second time assuming the chairmanship in 2012, Cambodia successfully hosted the 20th and the 21st ASEAN Summits in Phnom Penh, and was able to deliver even more achievements, such as association of the Treaty of Amenity of Cooperation of Southeast Asia by the UK, the EU and Brazil, the first country in Latin America to do so, the launch of negotiations on the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, the world's largest trade pact, which entered into force last year, and the adoption of the joint settlement on the 10th anniversary of the DOC, reaffirming the joint commitment between the ASEAN and China to promote peace, stability, mutual trust and confidence through the further implementation of the DOC. Regarding this year's chairmanship, Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn outlined how several ASEAN-related meetings and activities have already been successful, convened under the three Asian community pillars. Even despite the risk of COVID-19, including the ASEAN Foreign Ministers' retreat held in February, he further undisclosed how Cambodia's chairmanship was kick-started with the Prime Minister Hun Sen's visit to Myanmar on the 7th and 8th of January, which helped pave the way for the implementation of the five-point consensus. The Deputy Prime Minister's own first visit to Myanmar as a special envoy of the ASEAN Chair in March, and a subsequent convening of the consulate meeting of the Asian Humanitarian Assistance to Myanmar early in May. He also highlighted the ASEAN-US Special Summit held in Washington, D.C., jointly co-chaired by the ASEAN Chair, Prime Minister Hun Sen, and the US President Joe Biden. He said this was a milestone event and marked 45 years of the ASEAN-US dialogue relations and helped chart the future direction of ASEAN-US partnership, including the upgrade of relations to the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, to the highest partnership under the ASEAN framework, at the 10th ASEAN Summit to be held in November 2022. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
Iranian TV on Monday 30th May released footage of Iran's security forces on board a Greek tanker after it was seized in the Gulf on Friday 27th May. Greek-flagged Prudent Warrior was one of two Greek vessels that was seized by Iran on Friday. Iran had warned it would take punitive action against Athens over the confiscation of Iranian oil by the United States from a tanker held off the Greek coast. Greek authorities last month impounded the Iranian-flagged Pegasus of Greece due to European Union sanctions. The United States later confiscated the Iranian oil cargo held on board, reported on Thursday, 26 May. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Monday condemned the unjustified seizure of two Greek-flagged vessels by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard last week, the State Department said. Iranian forces seized two Greek tankers in the Gulf on Friday, shortly after Tehran warned it would take punitive action against Athens over the confiscation of Iranian oil by the United States from a tanker held off the Greek coast. Iran's continued harassment of vessels and interference with navigational rights and freedoms are a threat to maritime security and the global economy, Blinken said in the statement. Blinken made the comments in a telephone call with Greek Foreign Minister Nikos Dendias, the department said. The U.S. and Greek diplomats called on Iran to immediately release the seized vessels, their cargoes, and their crews. Blinken said the United States stands with its NATO ally in the face of this unjustified seizure. Iran's state maritime body said on Saturday that the crew of the 2 Greek tankers had not been detained and were in good health and being cared for on board their vessels. The Pegasus and its Russian crew were later released, but the seizure inflamed tensions as Iran and world powers seek to revive a 2015 nuclear deal. European Union leaders agreed to cut 90% of oil imports from Russia by the end of this year, European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said early on Tuesday, 31st May.
Von der Leyen added the remaining 10% will be temporarily exempt from the embargo so that landlocked Hungary, which was the main holdout for our deal, along with Slovakia and the Czech Republic that are all connected to the southern leg of the pipeline, have access which they cannot easily replace.
I'm very glad that the leaders were able to agree in principle on the 6 sanctions package. This is very important. Thanks to this, Council should now be able to finalize a ban on almost 90% of all Russian oil imports by the end of the year. This is an important step forward. Now left over is the around about 10 or 11% that are covered by the southern Družba. And indeed, here we have agreed, this is for the moment being exempted. We have agreed to that the Council will revert to the topic as soon as possible in one way or the other. So this is a topic where we'll come back to and where we will still have to work on. But it is a big step forward, what we did today. This is good that we now de-SWIFT the Sberbank. There is a ban on insurance and reinsurance of Russian ships by EU companies, a ban on providing Russian companies with a whole range of business services, and very important, the suspension of broadcasting in the European Union of 3 further Russian state outlets that were very typically spreading broadly the misinformation that we have witnessed over the last weeks and months.
Von der Leyen added the EU leaders' deal would clear the way for other elements of a 6th package of EU sanctions on Russia to take effect, including cutting Russia's biggest bank, Sberbank, from the SWIFT messaging system and banning 3 more Russia state-owned broadcasters. The EU has rolled out 5 rounds of sanctions since Russia invaded Ukraine in February, demonstrating uncharacteristic speed and unity given the complexity of the measures. But a struggle over an oil ban exposed a struggle to widen sanctions as the economic risk for Europe grows, because so many countries depend on Russian crude. Efforts to agree on EU oil embargo has been blocked by Hungary's refusal to agree to a ban on Russian imports it received through the huge Soviet-era friendship pipelines that run across Ukraine.
You're watching EAC News. Thanks for joining us. Valentin Yumashev, the son-in-law of former Russian leader Boris Yeltsin, who helped Vladimir Putin come to power, has quit his role as a Kremlin advisor. Yumashev was an unpaid advisor with limited influence on Putin's decision-making, but his departure removes one of the last links inside Putin's administration to Yeltsin's rule, a period of liberal reforms and Russia's opening up towards the West.
Putin ordered his armed forces to attack Ukraine on February 24th in an invasion the Western governments say is an act of unjustified aggression and which Moscow calls a special operation necessary to protect Russian speakers in eastern Ukraine. In March, Anatoly Kubras, another senior Yeltsin-era figure, left his role as a Kremlin special envoy. This month, a diplomat at a Russian mission to the United Nations resigned over the war. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov did not immediately respond to the request of the comment of Yushkev's leave his advisory role and did not answer a call from his mobile number. Yushkev did not respond to the request of comment by Reuters. Lyudmila Telfon, first deputy executive director of the Boris Yeltsin Presidential Center Foundation, where Yoshimov is a member of the Board of Trustees, told Reuters that Yoshimov have given up his Kremlin advisor role in April. Asked why he left, she said it was inattentive. A second person familiar with Yustinov's thinking, who spoke on the condition of autonomy, also said that Yoshimov is April sees to be a presidential advisor. Under Yeltsin, who was Russian president from 1991 to 1999, Yoshimov served as a Kremlin advisor and later the Kremlin chief of staff. He is married to Yeltsin's daughter Tatiana. Yumashev was running for presidential administration in 1997 when Putin was a former KGB spy who had been given a middle-ranking administration job in the Kremlin of the early years. Was promoted to be deputy Kremlin chief of staff. That promotion provided a springboard for Putin to be anointed as Yeltsin's heir apparent and win the presidential election in 2000 after Yeltsin had stepped down. Through Putin's policies over the years to diverge from the values of the Yeltsin's epoch, the Russian leader has kept his ties to the former First Family. In January 2020, according to the Kremlin website, Putin visited Yeltsin's daughter Tatiana at the home and congratulated her on her birthday. The adult daughter and Vladimir Yosef, Tatiana Maria, posted on her Instagram account on February 24th an image that Ukraine's flag along with the words "No War" and broken heart emoji.
The president of the Cambodian Red Cross, First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen, led a delegation of Cambodian Red Cross members to pay respects to His Majesty the King, Norodom Sihamoni, and Her Majesty the Queen Mother, Norodom Moniniat Sihanouk, as well as to present a report on past humanitarian activities and the future direction of the Cambodian Red Cross. This royal visit took place at the Royal Palace of Cambodia on Wednesday morning. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has the story.
On that occasion, First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen presented His Majesty the King $500,000 and the Queen Mother another $500,000 as a contribution to both Majesty's humanitarian activities. At the same time, the First Lady also presented to the King and Queen Mother the report on the work results of the Cambodian Red Cross in 2021 and the first 5 months of 2022, including the work to prevent the spread of COVID-19, help the victims, increase road safety, mine education, public health, and social welfare. According to the report, more than 3 million people received assistance from the Cambodian Red Cross in 2021, built 792 houses for the poor, of which 628 were built for poor Cambodian veterans, and provided interest-free loans to 572 families in mine-risk areas. Additionally, the Cambodian Red Cross trained nearly 10,000 first aid agents and donated $1 million to Kantabupa Hospital and $50,000 to Angkor Hospital for Children, visited thousands of pregnant and postpartum women, among other work activities. After hearing the report from the First Lady, the King and Queen Mother of Cambodia praised the activities of the Cambodian Red Cross for not only alleviating the hardships of the people, but also promoting Cambodia's Buddhist culture. They noted that what is most important is that the leadership of the First Lady has kept officials, staff, volunteers, and youth of the Red Cross at all levels active. Both of the Majesty wished First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen success in strongly leading the humanitarian mission in Cambodia even more. The Cambodian Red Cross, established on the 18th of February 1955, is the largest humanitarian organization in Cambodia and assists the royal government in humanitarian work to alleviate the suffering of vulnerable people. However, during the Khmer Rouge regime between 1975 to 1979, all activities of the Cambodian Red Cross were suspended and the organization lost its unity. Since its reunification in 1994, the Cambodian Red Cross has undergone many stages of institutional development and reform. First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen has been the chairman since 1998. The Cambodian Red Cross currently spends between $12 million and $13 million a year on humanitarian work. In celebration of the World Red Cross and Red Crescent Day on the 8th of May 2022, the Cambodian Red Cross donated a total of $16 million and two 12-seater vehicles, as well as rice, drinks, and other items. Dekanin, EAC News.
Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Lijian has praised Prime Minister Hun Sen's remarks, emphasizing that Taiwan is a province of China which cannot be separated. He made this remark during a regular press conference at the Chinese Foreign Ministry on Monday, 30th May. Spokesperson Zhao Lijian told a news conference there is only one China in the world. Taiwan is part of China, and the government of the Republic of China is the only legitimate government representing the whole of China. He further continued to say that this is the consensus of the international community, and that the Taiwan issue is purely a Chinese internal affair that does not allow for foreign interference. He added that defending national sovereignty and territorial integrity, anti-division, and achieving national unification is China's justifiable cause, a matter which he says will continue to receive understanding and support from the international community, including Cambodia. The spokesperson's remarks came just days after the 2022 ASEAN Chair, Prime Minister Hun Sen, spoke at a press conference for the 27th International Conference on the Future of Asia on Friday, 27th May, and said that the case of Taiwan is different from the case of Ukraine, as while Ukraine is an independent country, Taiwan is considered by many, including the United States, as a province of China. He said that China is not stupid to the level of shedding their own blood, as long as Taiwan does not declare independence and no country invades Taiwan.
គឺតាំងពីឆ្នាំ1949រហូតមកពេលនេះតើមានដែលឃើញចិនប្រើប្រាស់កម្លាំងទៅលើតៃវ៉ាន់ឬអត់ប្រទេសទាំងឡាយគួរតែធ្វើការគោរពទៅដល់ឯករាជ្យភាពនិងអធិបតេយ្យភាពរបស់តៃវ៉ាន់របស់ប្រទេសចិនផងដែរដែលគេទាំងឡាយទទួលស្គាល់ថាតៃវ៉ាន់គ្រាន់តែជាខេត្តមួយរបស់ចិនតែប៉ុណ្ណោះឥឡូវហេតុអីបានយើងដាក់បញ្ហាលើកបញ្ហាប្រៀបធៀបចិននិងតៃវ៉ាន់ទៅប្រៀបធៀបរវាងរុស្ស៊ីនិងអ៊ុយក្រែននេះជាបញ្ហាដែលខ្ញុំមិនយល់ស្របជាមួយនឹងបញ្ហាការលើកឡើងស្ដីអំពីការត្រៀមអន្តរាគមន៍យោធា
He reminded ASEAN partners both inside and outside the region to give serious consideration to actions that could endanger China's national sovereignty. The ASEAN chair's remarks came just 4 days after U.S. President Joe Biden announced during a Quad meeting that he would use force to defend Taiwan if Taiwan was attacked by China. The youngest member of parliament, Hun Mani, has said that taking care of children is an investment for the future as well as the responsibility of everyone in society. Hun Mani wrote this remark in a post made on his personal Facebook page on Wednesday morning, 1st June, coinciding with International Children's Day. EAC News reporter Becca Nin has more.
Hun Mani stated that in his more than 40 years of life, while he did not go through the Khmer Rouge regime, the clashes between the Khmer Rouge and the government in 1997, or the events of the 2008 to 2012 war over the Previhe region, he did experience the crisis that affected and continues to affect all aspects of Cambodia, the crisis of COVID-19 pandemic. He added that the pandemic has affected Cambodia in terms of public health for all families, the general daily lives of people in the country, as well as the national economy. Seeing this crisis, the Cambodian government has introduced emergency response measures to ensure the protection of the health of the people and children until now, which has allowed Cambodia to fully reopen, and students across the country have been able to once again attend school in person. He wrote, "We strive today for a better future for all of our children. Taking care of children is an investment for the right future because this is our responsibility. This is the tradition of the Cambodian People's Party." Since the start of the COVID-19 vaccination campaign from the 10th of February 2021 to 30th of May 2022, Cambodia has vaccinated 94.01% of its 16 million population, of which more than 4.3 million are children between the ages of 3 to 18. The chairman of the Cambodian Human Rights Committee, Kai Rami, had previously remarked that Prime Minister Hun Sen has rescued the people from two major disasters, with the liberation from the Khmer Rouge regime and the liberation of the people from COVID-19. On Tuesday, 31st of May, Prime Minister Hun Sen posted a picture of himself from when he was in his 40s, with the caption, "Looking at this photo, it was taken between 1994 and early 1999. During the implementation stage of the win-win policy in every moment while I slept, walked, stood, or sat, longing for peace in order to have the opportunity to build a country." The Prime Minister added that now since peace has been achieved, the younger generations should not have to go through the same type of tragedy that he and previous generations experienced while trying to find peace. He wrote, "Do not wait for war to shout that you love peace when it is too late to save, as it is in Ukraine." For more than 23 years, Cambodia has achieved peace and national reconciliation with full national unity and one government, which has benefited from the win-win policy of Prime Minister Hun Sen since 1998. Achieving complete peace has given the royal government enough opportunities to develop the country to this day. The Prime Minister often states that he would not allow Cambodia to fall into a state of war as before, declaring that at any cost, peace must be maintained. Dekanin, EAC News.
On Thursday, 2nd June, a celebration for Queen Elizabeth II's birthday and Platinum Jubilee was held at the Himawari Hotel in Phnom Penh, with the Ambassador of the United Kingdom to Cambodia, Tina Redshaw, and the first Vice President of the Cambodian Mine Action and Victim Assistance Authority, Senior Minister Lee Tut, in attendance along with many other ambassadors and distinguished guests. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more details.
Speaking at the celebration, Senior Minister Lai Tuch, representing the Royal Government of Cambodia, relayed his best wishes and good health, longevity and a glorious reign to Her Majesty the Queen and her heartfelt congratulations to the people of the United Kingdom. He said, "It is remarkable that the Queen has ruled for longer than any other monarch in British history, becoming a highest respected and much-loved figure across the globe." He added that Queen Elizabeth II had been a symbol of reform, continuity and tradition of United Kingdom, and highlighted how she travelled exclusively across the Commonwealth and the world, building up the principles of friendship, loyalty and desire for freedom and peace. The senior minister also took the opportunity to touch briefly upon the bilateral relations and the cooperation between the Kingdom of Cambodia and United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. He said that he has noted the deep satisfaction that the two kingdoms, which are among the oldest remaining royalist institutions in the world, have been able to maintain an excellent state of friendship and comparative close relations in various fields of common interest since the establishment of diplomatic ties in 1953, and especially since the establishment of the British Embassy in Phnom Penh in 1991. He mentioned the UK's Government General Scheme of preference to grow free and fair trade with Cambodia while engaging in human rights dialogue and timely donation of AstraZeneca vaccines in the fight against COVID-19 as the two examples of support and cooperation from the UK to Cambodia. He also noted the substantial bilateral assistance that the UK government has lent to Cambodia. He gave the examples of the prestigious Chevening program, which has awarded 184 Cambodian students to pursue higher education in the UK between 1993 and 2020. The British Embassy in Phnom Penh active work in advancing and promoting STEM education, technical and vocational education and training, and women empowerment in Cambodia, and the renewal of support for deeming under the UK's Global Mine Action Program, which has benefits millions of Cambodians by allocating almost $10 million to release more land for safe agriculture, housing and rural development. Closing his remarks, the senior minister called on everyone to rise and join him in the toast on the behalf of the royal government to the good health, longevity and glorious reigns of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, His Majesty King Norodom Sihamoni, the good health of longevity of Her Majesty Queen Mother Norodom Mononith Sihanouk, the happiness of the prosperity of the British and Cambodian peoples, the good friendship and close cooperation between the Kingdom of Cambodia and the UK, the strong ties between the people of Cambodia and the people of the UK, and in celebration of the Queen Elizabeth II's 66th birthday and the Platinum Jubilee. In 2022, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II will become the first British monarch in history to celebrate the Platinum Jubilee after 70 years of service. Global celebrations for her Platinum Jubilee began on Thursday the 2nd of June and will last for 4 days until Sunday the 5th of June. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of our platforms and channels. The EAC News app, YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eacnews.asia. Join me and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear.
The death toll caused by Hurricane Agatha in Mexico has risen to 11, with another 33 missing and thousands of people affected with heavy rains likely to continue, according to authorities on Wednesday, 1st June.
Authorities worked overnight on Tuesday the 31st of May to clear highways blocked from mudslides along Mexico's southern coast as Tropical Storm Agatha barreled down on the countries, bringing torrential rains and strong winds. Agatha made landfall as a Category 2 hurricane on Monday afternoon, touching down with 105 miles per hour winds or 169 kilometers per hour near the beach of Puerto Angel on the Pacific coast. By Monday evening, Agatha weakened to a tropical storm and is expected to dissipate further by Tuesday evening, according to U.S. National Hurricane Center, which maintained a warning of the life-threatening flash floods and mudslides in Oaxaca state. Rain caused mudslides and rocks to slide into highways in Oaxaca, blocking access to at least one area in the state. Local authorities said Mexico's transportation ministry was working to clear the roads late on Monday evening. Some towns in Oaxaca were left without electricity and one transformer exploded, authorities said. Telephone lines were knocked down on Monday, forcing authorities to communicate by radio. Agatha is expected to drop a total of 10 to 16 inches or 25 to 41 centimetres of rain in Oaxaca, with heavy downpours in nearby states of Chiapas, Veracruz, Tabasco and eastern Guerrero, NHC said. Wednesday, the highways that connects Zipolite with the communities of Pochla and Puerto Angel were opened, which was interrupted since Monday when Agatha impacted the coast of Oaxaca. Zipolite, the only nudist beach in the country, was severed effectively, with great attraction for foreign tourism. Residents and some of the tourists were stranded as they're still facing food and water shortages, as lack of fuel, electricity and telecommunications services. Dozens of houses were damaged, many of which were left uninhabitable by swollen rivers, and residents returned today to save some of their belongings.
The Ministry of Health is studying with the World Health Organization the possibility of finding and using vaccines for monkeypox, as the disease has been found to be infecting communities in other countries, some of which had never recorded cases before. EAC News reporter Decca Nin has more.
The director of the CDC, Dr. Lisa Wan, has told EAC News that so far, the world has not reported any death from monkeypox, but the disease still cannot be underestimated. He urged people to be careful and to continue monitoring their health status. He stated that monkeypox can be fatal if the patient has other diseases that weaken the immune system, and added that the ministry is currently studying with the World Health Organization the possibility of using vaccines.
យើងកំពុងសិក្សារឿងហ្នឹងបាទកំពុងសិក្សារឿងហ្នឹងហើយខ្ញុំគិតថាយើងនឹងជាការចាក់វ៉ាក់សាំងគឺជាការងាកអតិភិបដែរបាទតែត្រូវការសិក្សាសិទ្ធិជាមួយអង្គការសុខភាពលោកយើងត្រូវស្ដាប់អនុសាសន៍របស់អង្គការសុខភាពលោកបាទ
Symptoms of monkeypox include rash or blisters on the hands, palms, feet, face, and one or more symptoms such as fever over 38.5 degrees Celsius, muscle ache, swollen lymph nodes, headaches, and back pain. The CDC director has urged the public to be vigilant and to follow up any suspected cases by going to the nearest hospital or calling 115, the emergency health service number. Since the 13th of May 2022, cases of monkeypox has been reported to the WHO from 23 member countries, as the epidemic investigation continues. To date, most of the reported cases have not been related to travel to infected areas. According to the WHO, as of 26th of May, 520 cases of monkeypox have been so far reported in 23 countries, with countries in Europe being the most affected. Dekanin, EAC News.
Her Majesty the Queen Norodom Moniniet Sihanouk, Queen Mother of Cambodia and the Honorary President of the Cambodian Red Cross, has thanked the royal government for the initiative to transform Luang Mai Hospital into a cancer hospital. Her Majesty expressed her thanks when the President of the Cambodian Red Cross, First Lady Bunrani Hun Sen, and her delegation paid their respects at the Royal Palace on Wednesday on 1st June. EAC News reporter Dekanin has the story.
Queen Mother Norodom Moniniet Sihanouk praised the success of the royal government of Cambodia in controlling COVID-19 and also expressed her support and thanks for the initiative to transform Luang Mai Hospital into a cancer hospital, which she said has helped to address the immediate health needs of people across the country. The idea of transforming Luang Mai Hospital into a cancer hospital was first raised by the Prime Minister's daughter-in-law, Pichan Moni, and then supported by the Prime Minister. While speaking at a meeting with the Samdak Dekjo Voluntary Youth Doctor Association on the 17th of May, Prime Minister Hun Sen instructed the Minister of Health to prepare the hospital to become a cancer specialist hospital after it was no longer treating any more COVID-19 patients. The Prime Minister said, now there are no more COVID-19 patients, so this hospital should be turned into a cancer hospital. Because we do not send COVID-19 patients there anymore. Because along with COVID-19, we have to consider other diseases as well, so transform Luang Mai Hospital to a treating cancer. In the wake of the COVID-19 outbreak in March 2021, Prime Minister Hun Sen ordered the government to buy Nakotep Women's Hospital, located in Sangkat Preso, Khan Nang Kao, Phnom.
The National Committee for Organizing National and International Festivals has instructed all ministries and institutions throughout the country to be ready to celebrate and organize the royal birthday of Her Majesty Queen Norodom Moniniet Sihanouk, the Queen Mother of Cambodia, as she turns 87 years old. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more details.
In the introductory plan, dated 20th of May, the Chairman of National Committee for Organisation National and International Festivals, Deputy Prime Minister Kong Sam Ol, instructed the Ministry of the Royal Palace to organise a birthday party for the Queen Mother in accordance with the royal tradition and according to wishes of Her Majesty. The Minister also ordered all ministries, institutions, capital provincial administrations, including pagodas, to decorate their establishments with the royal portrait, provide greetings and blessings, and raise the national flag, religious flag, royal flag, and a banner of congratulations. The Minister of Information and the Ministry of Culture will broadcast national and private radio and television programs about Her Majesty the Queen's activities and achievements, and will also produce traditional concert broadcasts on national and private radio as part of the celebrations. The NCONIF and the Capital Provincial's administrations will also organise a program to visit the sick being treated in hospitals and the vulnerable elderly, implementing health measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19, and will contact all ministries and institutions for support and monetary donations. The Deputy Prime Minister said that all these arrangements will to express the gratitude to the Queen Mother for sacrificing her energy and intelligence in the royal activities conducted for the motherland and all the Cambodian people. This year's royal birthday ceremony of Her Majesty the Queen Mother of Cambodia will take place on Saturday the 18th of June 2022. The celebrations will also feature fireworks on Saturday night. Anthony Ellis, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has continued to urge people to get vaccinated to protect themselves from COVID-19, even though Cambodia has not recorded any cases for over 20 days. He further confirmed to the people that from 2024 onwards, Cambodia will use COVID-19 vaccines that have been packaged locally. EAC News reporter Dekanin has more details.
In a special audio message released on the evening of 1st of June 2022, Prime Minister Hun Sen said that in 2024, the Cambodian pharmaceutical industry will cooperate with Chinese vaccine manufacturer Sinovac in supplying the royal government nearly 35 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines per year. He said the plan is to supply these vaccines for 3 years until 2026, amounting to more than 104 million doses. ថ្ងៃនេះខ្ញុំប្រកាសណាខ្ញុំសូមទូលប្រគេនចំពោះបដិជគុណព្រះសង្ឃគ្រប់ព្រះអង្គជាទីគោរពសក្ការៈក៏ដូចជាបងប្អូនជនរួមជាតិឲ្យបានជ្រាបថាយើងបានសម្រេចចុះហត្ថលេខាដើម្បីទិញវ៉ាក់សាំងដែលនឹងត្រូវវិខ្ចប់នៅក្នុងប្រទេសរបស់យើងចំនួន104លាន
873,157 ដុសបន្ថែមទៀតសម្រាប់តម្រូវការ3ឆ្នាំគឺឆ្នាំ2024ដល់ឆ្នាំ2026
Prime Minister added that from 2022 until 2023, Cambodia will use vaccines that has been donated from other countries, as well as vaccines that Cambodia has purchased. He said that in the past 26 days, Cambodia has not recorded any new cases of COVID-19, which shows the success of the national vaccination campaign. However, he reminded everyone that the disease is still a matter of high alert and citizens should go and get vaccinated against COVID-19, with both the base doses and subsequent booster doses. He reaffirmed that the royal government will not charge money for vaccines, even if it has to provide the 10th dose of the vaccine to all members of the public. According to the Prime Minister, of the more than 13 million people who have been vaccinated against COVID-19 so far, more than 9 million have already been vaccinated with the third dose, and more than 2.5 million have also received their fourth dose. Ekanin EAC News.
Disease Control Department at the Ministry of Health has confirmed that no monkeypox disease has been found in Cambodia so far. 6 suspects were recently found, but all tested with negative results. The department still, however, urges citizens to be vigilant and to monitor all suspected cases of the disease. EAC News reporter Anthony Ellis has more.
The director of the CDC, Dr. Lynn Savant, has told EAC News that although no cases of monkeypox has been reported in Cambodia, the government has ordered all border authorities to monitor all suspect cases coming into the country. Moreover, he urges locals to raise awareness of the disease that is already spread in other countries, even those which have never recorded monkeypox in the past.
ដោយសារវាមានការឆ្លងសហគមន៍អញ្ចឹងហើយយើងត្រូវតែប្រុងប្រយ័ត្នខ្ពស់ហើយបាទព្រោះកន្លងមកនេះជំងឺនេះវាឆ្លងតែពីអាហ្វ្រិកមកហើយយើងនាំចេញទៅប្រទេសដទៃហើយយើងរកឃើញទៅក៏វាស្ងាត់ទៅបាទតែក្នុងករណីថ្មីនេះជំនាញការអង្គការសុខភាពពិភពលោកយើងប្រាប់ថាបច្ចុប្បន្ននេះវាឆ្លងសហគមន៍អញ្ចឹងឲ្យយើងប្រុងប្រយ័ត្នព្រោះអានោះវាឆ្លងតាមទឹកមាត់តាមក្អកកណ្ដាល
Chairman of the International Centre of the Democratic Party, Andreas Pasada Anglaro, announced that he will observe the Commune Sankrak Council elections on Sunday the 5th of June and wishes the election process to go smoothly and successful. He said this during a meeting with the Prime Minister of Cambodia, Hun Sen, on Saturday morning the 4th of June. During a meeting with the Prime Minister Hun Sen, CDI Chairman Andreas Pasana said he was honoured to be observer of the 2022 Commune Sankrak Council election, which he said was his 3rd visit. His first visit was in 2017 Commune Sankrak Council election and the 2018 National Assembly election. He wishes the election process and a success tomorrow. He also shared his condolences to the Prime Minister for the loss of his brother, Hun Neng. In response, Prime Minister Hun Sen thanked Mr. Andreas for sharing his condolences and also informed him about the success of the rollout of the vaccine against COVID-19, which resulted in the success of helping Cambodia to still hold elections without worries. He thanked Mr. Andreas for leading the CDI delegation to observe the election tomorrow. The 5th Commune Sankrak Council election will be held on the 5th of June with 17 political parties taking part. Total number of seats is 11,622 in 1,652 Commune Sankrak Council seats nationwide, with more than 9.2 million registered voters.
And finally, Venezuelan Juan Vicente Perez Mora, declared the oldest person in the world by Guinness World Records last week, celebrated his 113th birthday on Friday.
Friends and family attended a birthday mass celebrated to commemorate Perez Mora's life. After blowing out the candles, the party continued outside the church. Perez Mora, who enjoys good health and a cup of strong aguardiente liquor every day, has 41 grandchildren, 18 great-grandchildren, and 12 great-great-grandchildren, Guinness said in a press release. Apart from slightly elevated blood pressure and hearing problems due to his age, Perez Mora is in very good health and does not take medication, said Enrique Guzman, a physician from a clinic in San Jose de Bolivar in Venezuela, Táchira State. Perez Mora became the world's oldest person after Centenino de la Fuente Garcia, who was born on the 11th of February 1909 in Spain, died in January aged 112 years and 341 days old.
Pregnant women sized up for the biggest baby bump competition in Nicaragua's capital, Managua, on Monday. The competition was organized by a local radio station and saw 19 entries. The event coincides with Nicaragua's Mother's Day celebration.
The winner was 31-year-old Leila Rebecca Hernandez, who is 9 months pregnant. She was awarded a refrigerator, baby products, and 5,000 cordobas or $130 US.
Estoy sorprendida porque, como dice el Nica, lo hice por seguir la corriente. Porque una vecina siempre me ha dicho que tengo una gran panza, entonces ella fue la que me llegó con la...
Hernandez's belly measured 57 centimeters or 22 inches.
The Rolling Stones rocked Madrid on Wednesday with a concert that kicked off their European tour titled 60 and marked their 60th anniversary as a band.
Some 53,000 fans at the Wanda Metropolitano Stadium roared with excitement as they welcomed to the stage the original band members, Mick Jagger, 78, guitarist Keith Richards, 78, and Ronnie Wood, who turned 75 on Wednesday. They have been joined by drummer Steve Jordan for the tour after rock and roll legend Charlie Watts, who joined the band in 1963, died last year at age 80. Right before the first song, videos of Watts were displayed on big screens on the stage, and the band gave an emotional tribute to their late friend. After 17 songs, the Rolling Stones left the stage just to return in response to a big round of applause from the Madrid crowd. The band played Gimme Shelter as the Ukrainian flag and footage of destroyed Ukrainian cities were displayed on the monitors as a statement against war. The band closed the concert with I Can't Get No Satisfaction. After a 2-hour show, 80 fans clad in Rolling Stones t-shirts and draped in flags with their trademark lips and tongue logo left the venue chanting satisfaction. Their faithful fans celebrated that the band want to keep performing as long as they possibly can.
We said that in 2012 on their 50th. On their 50th in 2012, we said this might be the last time we've seen them. We've seen them around Europe many times since then, and in England.
The set list includes Stones' 1960s classics such as I Can't Get No Satisfaction and Painted Black, among others, as well as some of the more recent tracks from their vast catalog of music. The Stones, who wrapped up the North American leg of their No Filter tour in November, will next play in Munich on Sunday and also perform in Amsterdam, Bern, Milan, Brussels, Vienna, Paris, and Stockholm.
Queen Elizabeth led the lighting of the Principal Platinum Jubilee beacon from her Windsor Castle home on Thursday night, 2nd June, as the first day of celebrations to mark her Platinum Jubilee came to a close. The ceremony saw a carpet of lights pass from Windsor to Buckingham Palace to light up a tree making up the beacon's centerpiece. British newspapers reporting on Queen Elizabeth's record-breaking 70 years on the British throne went to the press in Broxburn, north of London, on Thursday night. Britain kicked off 4 days of pomp, parties, and parades to celebrate the Queen's record-breaking 70 years on the British throne. A beaming Queen Elizabeth waved to cheering crowds massed outside Buckingham Palace. Tens of thousands of royal supporters waving flags lined the streets of London for a military parade at the start of the 4-day Platinum Jubilee. Millions of people across Britain and the world were expected to watch the festivities, join street parties, and light beacons in honor of the 96-year-old Queen. Prince Charles watched the festivities and light beacons. 53 other nations joined in celebrating common heritage, celebrating a life of service, fidelity, integrity, and humanity, as they lit the beacon and gave thanks for Her Majesty's long reign and sent her other very warmest congratulations on this magnificent milestone. And now for a look at how the weather will be playing out over the next few days. Thank you for watching the weekly roundup here on EAC News Channel. More from the EAC News team in the Daily Roundup Monday night at 8 p.m. We will see you then.